Psyche, and I'm here with you, this Coach Mad Mike.
It's Lord Sarge!
All right, we got a whole big old program for you guys here today. We're going to be answering a number of questions. But first of all, we are just coming back from the NFL draft, and boy, we have a whole lot to talk about there, Large Sarge. But we are going to answer the following questions today. So you're going to want to watch this entire video and share it all the way through. And the questions we're going to ask is we're going to go over the draft analysis and where this team goes from here. Where are the Commanders going? We're also going to talk about, we still have needs. And we have a missing left tackle out there that we're going to talk about.
Surprise for you, Coach Mad Mike. I got a special surprise on that one for you coming up.
All right, we're going to go through a roster breakdown so we know where this team's going. Next thing we're going to talk about is we got a status on a new stadium for the Washington Commanders that we want to share about you. You're going to want to catch this news. We're also going to talk about the Commanders draft party, because not only were we at the draft, but we were also at the Commanders draft party and what was missing from this draft party. And then we're going to talk about Darrell Green's announcement that we are going to retire his jersey number. Is it late? Or, is a decade more late? We're going to go into that. Jaden Daniels, the first round draft pick, selected second overall.
With the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels.
Damn it! Jaden Daniels, baby!
I owe you another beer!
Again, what a season he had. Combined rushing and passing.
I thought it was going to be Drake May, but you were right, Coach Mad Mike.
Touchdowns. He won the Heisman, the Walter Camp, the Unitas, the O'Brien, and Manning Awards.
Yeah, you lost another bet earlier, didn't you?
Player of the year.
I did.
You mentioned that he
started
at Arizona State, started 3 seasons there, 2 in Baton Rouge. So he's 23 years old with lots of experience. The frame, Lewis, is what everyone talked about. Weighed in at 210 at the Combine. That silenced a lot of those questions.
Yeah, I never had any questions about that.
At least he's wearing a decent suit, One color.
The same way I had no questions after I saw C.J. Stroud at Ohio State. I got the same feeling about him. The people down at LSU
kind of guy. You know what?
The amount of time that this young man
I understand why they picked him. Look at him. He looks like a pro already.
To build towards this moment, the amount of investment that he made.
The man is smiling in the mirror. I can't tell you how many boys I saw walking across that stage. They weren't smiling in the mirror. He was smiling. He's happy.
Every single challenge that was
He's a happy puppy.
And it manifested itself not by
That's
accident.
what the Commanders need. A happy guy.
He was number one in total QBR, number 2 in QBR in the pocket, number 1 in
go!
QBR outside the pocket. He's a guy who can just absolutely cut your heart out with his legs. And guess what?
He's a clean-cut
He's
boy.
still
I
a
like
work
that
in
boy.
progress.
Okay.
So now,
Right.
again,
I was wrong.
Cliff Kingsbury,
You were right, Coach
offensive
Mike.
coordinator in Washington, you're up. You're up now in terms of build that
6'3".
relationship
That
with
boy's
him.
gonna
Adam
look
Peters,
over
make sure he's
top
protected.
of the
Adam
offensive
Peters,
line.
make sure
They
you
ain't
gain
got no
weapons.
1-6'3".
Defense, play your part. Magic Johnson, all the owners down there in Washington, Josh Harris, make sure you support him.
What was the difference between year 1 and year 2 at LSU? He talked about his consistency. The first time since high school, he had the same offensive coordinator winning the Heisman Trophy.
All right. You're making me a believer.
Coach
Ben, like,
the process, he's an elite processor along the
I wanted
lines
Jaden
of
Daniels.
C.J. Stroud to process
Other rumors were
information,
Jaden
to
Daniels.
deliver the football.
Burrow's ascension to be the number 1 pick.
You was right.
He went from Ohio State to LSU, and year 1 at LSU, he was good. He wasn't special.
At least we're not
In
going
year
back to
2,
North Carolina, right?
Jefferson and Chase.
We've
2
been
great
there already.
receivers.
Let's go out
He
of
was
you at
spectacular,
LSU.
won
Then
a
we'll have
national
better
title,
luck.
became the number 1 pick overall. He's had a great career so far. Jaden Daniels
one of
was
those
an
SEC
Arizona State
players.
where he was pretty good. And he was a guy, he looked like a 3rd, 4th round pick after his first year at LSU.
We got
This
the
year, like
mascot.
Joe
We got the
Burrow,
hog.
with the help of a guy like Malik
By
Neighbors
the way, I was
and
asking
Brian
people, you were
Thomas
like,
Jr., same with
why
Burrow,
is Large
having the two
Sarge
receivers,
wearing
Jefferson and Chase, took his play and his
Commanders
performance to
coat?
another level. He was
I mean,
unbelievable
Cognito.
game in and game out. He didn't have a
Because I'm
defense
a
where he
Lions
put
fan,
points
you
on the
can
board and match
But
points and bring them back.
it's
in
my
the
number
fourth
2
quarter.
team.
He didn't win national
My
title.
first game with my
fault of his
happy
own. It was the
when I
defense
was
that
a
wasn't very
tiny
good.
guard,
Joe Burrow had more
was a
talent on that
Redskins
side ball.
Giants
He
game.
didn't.
So
But the
they're in
situation
my
is you're
soul.
worried about a 4th
They're in
or
my
2nd pick
soul.
overall.
As
Just look at Joe
Redskins.
Burrow.
Subway, Molly's got Jaden Daniels. Molly?
Jaden, you've had a life-changing year, ending with the Heisman Trophy. Now you're the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. What has this journey been like for you to get here?
It's been a blessing, man. I couldn't be here without God, man. It's been a blessing. All the adversity I've been through,
And
the
I
perseverance,
can't do
man.
an
I'm
interview
just
without
happy
my
I'm
shades
blessed.
on.
How can this
I need
Commanders
incognito.
offensive staff, including guys like Cliff Kingsbury, bring out the best in you?
Just believe in me.
Like,
You know,
like
it's gonna be a
James
grind. We're gonna work. I'm a hard worker, man, so I can't wait.
Congratulations, Jane Daniels heading to the Washington Commanders.
He's styling. He's styling. That's the best dressed second pick I ever seen. He must have watched the Peyton Manning commercial about how to dress for the draft.
All right, well, I got to show this to you because I got to rub it in a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
I called this thing so long ago, it wasn't funny.
Rub it in. I can't watch.
Hello there, sports fans. This is Coach Mad Mike. I declared this a couple weeks ago, and I'm standing by it. It is going to be quarterback Jaden Daniels taken at number 2 by the Washington Commanders.
Coach Mad Mike. Why don't I listen to you, Coach Mad Mike?
That one was recorded on the 1st of April, and I said that I called it 2 weeks prior to that. We're talking mid-March.
Yes, you did.
Mid-March, I called this thing.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I was wrong. Coach Mad Mike was right. I give.
And even after all that emoji stuff that was
going on. You don't need to listen to him.
Right? When Pat McAfee, when Florio, when Ian Rappaport, all those guys were going crazy, talking all this craziness about the agent for Jaden Daniels.
All that stuff, all that hype, all that news. Everything.
I told you guys it wasn't going to change the outcome. I told you guys. I know they got millions and millions of subscribers and I only got a couple hundred, but you're going to need to start listening to me on this one because that's about to flip.
You was right, Coach Mad Mike.
Right now. I called it 6 weeks ago, people.
You was left. You was right. You was left. You was right. You were everything. You called it.
I'm telling you guys.
Those boys knew that crap a month ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Wasn't even no question who they were going to pick. It was a month ago they made that choice. No matter what happened at Top Golf.
It didn't matter what happened at Top Golf. It didn't matter they brought all those guys in. They knew it. It was this pick all along. They were going like Jaden Daniels is clearly the top talent that was for this position.
All right.
Right?
All right.
I even think he rates right up there with Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams was already determined by the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, that wasn't even a pick. It was like whatever. That wasn't a pick. That was
Jaden
boring.
Daniels, there was a little bit like they played their cards tight, but I think it was Jaden Daniels all along. But let's keep moving, man. I'm not going to keep rubbing it in even more than I already have.
All right, I can't take
Jaden Daniels is our quarterback.
I give out. Oh, my heart. Oh, Lord, no.
But here's where I disagree with things. All right? I told you guys before, I think it was a good idea for us to trade in front round because I think the Commanders made a fatal flaw in this thing. Now, CBS.
Wait a minute. Coachman Mike, look at that belly.
I know you love the belly.
Sarge. I love this guy. Look at that belly.
I know you might love this guy, but let me tell you something about this because CBS Sports gave our draft class an A+ rating. As a fan, you want to go crazy, you want to party, you want to go, woo!
With that fat boy? With that fat boy? Oh, hell no.
What they needed. They needed to trade in the front round to get a left tackle, and they did it. They missed on it.
Wait a minute. Coachman Mike, you mean the Commanders should have traded up their pick from the second round into the first round, and who do you think they could have got?
There was multiple left tackles in the first round that went. It was a deep class, but it was a high deep class, which means in order for you to land one of the top offensive tackles, in order to land one of them, they weren't going to fall to the second round. Like we talked a lot about Morgan possibly. He went early. Guyton, we could have traded to get Guyton, but I knew that if we didn't get in front of Dallas, I was there watching it as it went down. We were there together. I called it. If we didn't move up in front of Dallas, that Dallas was going to take him, and that's exactly what
you called it. We were there. We did it live. You called it. Well, Coach Mad Mike. Coach Mad Mike.
Yes.
I got some breaking news.
What's up?
You wrong. They didn't get an offensive tackle. You just don't know about it. I got an announcement to make.
All right, tell me who the left tackle is.
They hired an offensive tackle today. Let me bring him on this show so you can talk to him and you can find out more about him. Hold just a second. Let me get him. Hold a second.
All right, you got him there? Okay, I'm ready for this.
I know you got him, boy.
Because I will tell you that we certainly didn't use our draft capital to trade up to get one of the top tier offensive tackles. What we need to do to protect Jaden Daniels. What do we have here?
My name is Lord Sarge.
You're the last offensive
tackle from the U.S. Army Squad, number 69, and I'm very, very happy to be a commander.
Oh, number 69. I can see we already gave you a jersey number.
Oh, the left side of the line.
All right, I'm going to have to interview this guy. All right, let me tell you, what college did you go to there, Lord Sarge?
Army. I'm an Army boy.
Hey, what? No. So, I don't know. I'm going to ask you some serious questions about this draft process.
All right, come on.
All right, because you're probably going to be our starting left tackle for the Washington Commanders. What was your 40 time?
7.8. I'm very fast, and I'm agile.
All right, so I don't remember seeing you at the combine, so they must have done a private workout for you. What was your first?
Hell no, I ain't going over there. I was eating barbecue. I ain't got no time for no combine. I was eating pork belly.
You eating barbecue? So, all right, so they signed you probably to a league minimum contract with no money guaranteed. But what do you think?
No guarantee, but I don't need no guarantee. I'm the best offensive tackle the Commanders ever had.
No, we don't have anybody else, so you're it. So what do you think your chances are protecting Jaden Daniels?
I'm going to cover that boy like white on rice. He ain't got no problems from my side of the field.
Hey, so you really think you're going to be able to, like, what are your height and weight?
I am 6 foot 310 pounds of pure attitude. Ain't nobody on the edge going to get past me. Jaden Daniels is safe like in a baby blanket.
Oh my God, man! Get this dude the jersey.
Large Sarge got him covered. Ain't never going to get through.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got an undrafted free agent to cover because we certainly didn't get one in a draft. Instead, we get John Newton. Now, John Newton, I will tell you, he comes in with a very, very high grade because Johnny Newton has a top 15 grade. Like, he was expected to be so good that he could have been a top 15 pick in this draft. But he slid to the second round because he had a surgery done on his foot. Now, the doctors are saying that his foot is okay. He's saying his foot's okay.
I'm not worried about his foot. I'm worried about does he have a belly like Lord Sarge? He ain't got no belly. He ain't got no beef.
We're recruiting a lot of big belly dudes.
You want to play this league? You gotta have the beef. You gotta have the beef.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, he went 36 overall. I don't think it was a position of need because we got Jerron Payne and Jonathan Allen. But he's a guy that, assuming his foot's good, could be another person going to rotation. And if we can't agree to terms later on down the road as this guy develops, maybe he works his way into the starting lineup as we move on from somebody. It's interesting.
I'm going to eat him like a slab sandwich, slab barbecue. He ain't going to pass me.
So moving on in the second round, the next one we got was Mike St. Ristel. Now, Mike is one of those guys, cornerback out of Michigan, who also grades out really, really well. Now, he's one of those guys that's known as that do-everything kind of slot corner.
I'm afraid of that boy. He's got too much speed for me. Lars can't move that fast.
That dude is really extremely good. Now, my only concern with this particular pick that everybody's raving about is not anything that has to do with Mike. It has everything to do with Emmanuel Forbes, in my opinion, because Emmanuel Forbes was roasted last year on the outside. I actually really think Emmanuel Forbes is a better nickel corner. So who's going to play outside across from St. Jude's is my big question. So, like, from that aspect, I think that they went through, like, this best talent kind of thing. But I think that pushes Emmanuel Forbes into a backup kind of role. And I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to talk about roster a little bit later on about what I think that they're going to do in the depth chart-wise. But this is another extremely interesting signing with a second-round grade draft pick. Again, my position was trade back up and get a top-tier offensive tackle. I think many fans and many people who study this would agree.
Trade up. We got Lord Sarge. There ain't no trade up needed. I'm the man. I've been waiting all my life. I'm ready for the OTAs.
Oh, my God.
Go. I'm ready for training camp. Let me show what I can prove.
So then we traded. We had some trades that were going on and around, which gave us another second-round pick instead of a third. We traded with the Eagles, and we were able to get up, and we were able to get Ben Sinnott, tight end. Now, he might start over Zach Ertz, depending on how good, if he's ready or not. Otherwise, he'll develop either way if he's before or behind Zach Ertz, but he's the ultimate replacement guy. So hopefully he pans out, and he's everything we expect him to be. His film looks good. His dimensions look good. I think it was a decent signing. And so we'll see how that turns out.
I want to make sure that boy gets free and loose in the secondary.
Now, Lord Sarge, you might be disappointed, number 69 there, Lord Sarge, to know that the coaching staff believes that the starting left tackle is going to be this guy right here, Brandon Coleman, third-round pick, 67 overall. Now, Brandon Coleman is an interesting dude.
He's not taking my job.
He spent a majority of his career playing right tackle, but in 2022, which was his best year, he was actually a runner-up for the Pac-12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. He did play left tackle.
My job.
He did play left tackle 1 year, and so some of the analysts are thinking that this is our starting left tackle. I'm not completely convinced.
I was born to be a left tackle. I have been a left tackle. I am always a left tackle. This boy is not getting my job.
We might need to get Lars Sarge out of here. But anyway, this particular pick, right now, the Commanders are looking at being that starting left tackle. As much as Lars Sarge thinks he's that guy, I actually think Brandon Coleman should be a backup, and we should be looking at somebody else. We will see, because Lars Sarge might have to end up on the practice squad.
I'll beat this boy down in the practice squad. He'll be on the practice squad. I'm starting.
All right, so then in the third round with the 100 pick overall, this was the pick that we received when we got rid of Chase Young to the 49ers, who's no longer with the 49ers now. He's not with the Saints. But Luke McCaffrey, this is Christian McCaffrey's little brother. He went to Rice. He was a wide receiver. The guy is very, very dynamic. I'm not saying he's the same kind of talent as Christian McCaffrey by any means of it, but he might move right in to be our slot receiver.
I guarantee he's going to be a slot receiver, and he's going to be just like his daddy because I'm going to be protecting Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels going to hit this guy up like a stoplight.
And we got Jordan
Green.
And we got Jordan McGee there, Lord Sarge. He's going to be a backup linebacker, picked up in the 5th round. He'll develop behind Bobby Wagner. He'll take him under his wings and keep him going, and maybe he'll become a future starter, which is the plan, to have him be the ultimate replacement for Bobby Wagner if he develops his shit.
Lord Sarge loves that pick. Give me some defense.
Then we get to Dominique Hampton, cornerback out of Washington in the 5th round. I think he's a depth option. He's going to be competing for a roster spot, and we'll see how he does. We'll pay attention to him in camp, just like we pay attention to a lot of rookies. And then we got Devontae Jean-Baptiste. Now, he comes in with a fairly good grade for being a 7th round pick and a guy that could be a package guy if he can make the 53-man roster, which I think he has a shot at it.
Commanders are making the defensive strengths happen.
Yep.
Good stuff.
All right, so let's get into it. After the draft was over, the Commanders did not go to sleep on Saturday night. When you and I were out there stuffing our face at the draft party on Saturday night for the Commanders, they signed 11 more undrafted free agent signings. So they were still busy in the war room. And there's a couple standouts on here, right? And I'm going to go over them real quick. The first one I want to go over.
My name on the board. My name I'm in there.
We missed one.
I'm in there. You missed me.
Well, you said you were signed today. I didn't have a chance to update the undrafted free agent signings.
Coach Bad Mike. All right, Coach Bad Mike. All forgiven.
Obviously, this is not an updated slide.
I understand. You only got so much time in a day.
So cornerback Anisium. Now, let me tell you about Anisium here a little bit. Anisium is a guy went to Colorado State. He was expected to be drafted. Half the teams in the NFL, as soon as the draft was over, was trying to call this guy's agent and get him signed. The Commanders beat everybody to the punch, but it did not come without a cost. In order to sign this undrafted free agent that everybody coveted because he should have been a draft pick, they gave him a $50,000 signing bonus, and they guaranteed a base salary of $300,000. So even if he gets cut, he's going to end up making $300,000. The teams were like coveting this guy because he should have been a draft pick. It's almost like we got an extra draft pick out of this by beating everybody to the punch. Yeah, so we'll watch a little bit of film on him as we talk about this. But I think, he comes in very, very interesting on a lot of stuff I have on him. I mean, he comes in at 6'1", 200 pounds.
Why like that?
When they were working him out and during the pro day, he ran a 4.39 40.
Under 4.4.
Under 4.4, 4.39. Like, it is absolutely baffling why this guy did not get drafted.
How did he not get in the first or second round?
Coach, he wasn't going to go that high. They had him graded out to go to mid to the late rounds, but he went undrafted for some reason. Like, people just snoozed on him, and when they all realized that he should have been drafted, everybody was calling. And the Commanders got him.
Under a 4.4. How did everyone go to sleep on him? Coach,
I have no idea. But I could see why it was a late night for the Commanders because they wanted to get this deal done. And when you know the corner issues that we have, we needed to get somebody.
It looks like they did the job.
And then here's another standout. We signed a fifth quarterback. Now we're back to the quarterback there, Large Sarge. We went out and got Sam Hartman from Notre Dame. Well, mainly because he's another one that probably could have been a 6th or 7th round draft pick, and he went undrafted. And the guy has a lot of ability. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Drew Brees because he's not very tall. Like, he's a short quarterback.
Before the Commanders signed me to protect the left side, the blind side, I'd have said this is pretty stupid because he's going to break his leg too. But now that I'm there, if this boy comes into the game, I got his back. I got his back.
Yeah, so Sam Hartman is a shorter guy.
All right, Large Sarge, come on back over here, Large Sarge. They finished with me. They don't like me anymore.
I got to be on the practice squad already.
All right, let me get up in out of here.
So when it comes to Hartman is a guy that I think has a shot to compete in training camp. Now, the plan all along was to bring in 4 quarterbacks. They now have 5 quarterbacks in training camp. It's absolutely insane, but they're going to have a chance to work this guy out. And
it's like the Patriots. The Patriots have 5, strangely enough.
Yeah. Well, we do too now.
No, you're done. No, you're not coming back. Go sit down. Go have a whiskey. I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry.
You got to get on the Large Sarge over there.
Oh, man. You have no idea how hard this is. That guy, he's huge. He's huge.
You can tell number 69 he needs to put on some oxygen and catch his breath a little bit. I know
put a whiskey in that boy, he's going to block anyone in the NFL all day long.
Well, we need a left tackle, man. All right, so anyway, Hartman's going to be another guy interesting to watch. If you watch this film here, as you're seeing, like, the guy can make all kinds of throws, and he can stay in practice. He's elusive. He can get out there. He can look at it, throw on the run. He's actually a very talented guy. His big knock on him is just he's a small dude, but it worked for Darrell Green.
This is highlight film, and Coach, you're a coach. It's highlight film. What does he do when he isn't making highlights? Is he any good?
Can he scramble? He's pretty good, man. I think he's pretty good. But again, he's just not your prototypical size and weight. So that's the big thing on him. But neither was Darrell Green.
Like that. I was a fan back in the day of Doug Flutie. Going back in history, Large Sarge history, Doug Flutie was my man. Small.
Yeah, Doug Flutie is another example.
I like him. The defensive lineman can't see him when he's small. He's hiding.
Well, supposedly you can't see over the defensive line or your offensive line when you're trying to throw.
Not even not see over his own offensive lineman. But the Commanders are small. They're small, except for Large Sarge.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about the offense for the Washington Commanders. So I want to give you a quick update here. There are 92 players currently on the roster right now. 92. Not 90 on the 90-man roster.
Coach Man Mike, I don't understand. I'm a fan. You got to understand I'm a fan. So how in the hell did they get to 92 when the max is 90? I don't understand. Explain.
How in the bleep word you just said? I will tell you, according to what I was able to find out on the rules, is that they have to be in the 90-man roster for training camp, which is not until
mid-July.
Till mid-July.
July.
But that, I think, is not the intent of the offseason 90-man rule. So they're not the only team that's in violation right now, in my opinion.
Are there any penalties?
The other team is the Arizona Cardinals, who have 91. I think the Cardinals should have to cut one. I think our Commanders should have to cut 2.
So are there penalties for going over the limit of 90?
I don't see any penalties, but apparently this rule is loose because it depends on how you read the rule. The rule says that you can't enter training camp with anything more than a 90-man roster. But I originally thought that the 90-man rule was for off-season roster, and we're in the off-season.
Coach Mike, I'm going to tell you to do some research.
Wait a minute, Lard. So off-season conditioning has already started. So, to me, you're in a camp environment. So we need to find out, why is it that our own team here is not at 90, and why is the Arizona Cardinals not at 90?
Because any other team over 90? Those are the only 2?
Only 2 right now that are violating it.
Oh, we need to do a rule check on this one. How are they getting over? Are they abusing the rules to their favor? I like it.
Yeah, we need to dig deeper. So anyway, if you look at this offense here, I want to cover a couple of things. We talked about the 5 quarterbacks. Now, when you see something in green over here, those are free agents that we signed in the offseason. If you see it in gold, anybody you see in gold are either draft picks, or if you see CF 24 behind, like you see on Sam Hartman, those are guys that were signed post-draft that were draft eligible, but were signed as free agents.
So undrafted free agents, CF24.
Right, they were undrafted free agents
down from the corner right there, right?
From the current draft class, they were available free agents because they weren't drafted.
And the Wanga Wanga Wooga Wangani.
Yes, he's one of them, right? The right tackle that we signed. So we did get another offensive lineman for depth at right tackle. But and we talked about earlier, Brandon Coleman being projected as a starting left tackle, even though he only played left tackle for a year.
Coach Mike.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. Okay,
sure.
Fine. We're at 92. Do you think the Commanders are making a play for Bakhtiari, the Packers' old offensive tackle, who had
that's a good thing.
Expensive in the early rounds of free agency, but now no one's picked him up. We got cap space. Do you think he might be an object to go after?
Yeah, so that's a good point to talk about right now, because there are 2 guys that could really have an impact on this defense on this offense if we sign it. So one of them is David Bakhtiari, as you mentioned, the left tackle out of Green Bay. Last year, he made $23.5 million playing for him. But they finally cut him loose because he was due that again this year, but he has had multiple knee surgery. And because of that, they released.
They're afraid.
They didn't want to pay that money.
Not that kind of money for that kind of guy.
He's still looking for a lot of money. And a lot of people were concerned that he was going to retire. And I looked into it, and he is not ready to retire. He says he still wants to play football.
Yep.
So the question is, who's going to take a look at him? I think we are a team that should at least bring him in and let our medical staff look at him, do some x-rays on that knee and see how it's coming along, because we need a stopgap for a year. He would be perfect to allow Brandon Coleman to develop underneath him, if anything, to learn techniques behind him, to learn, to just kind of grow and practice and be able to bounce and study film together, and to allow David to be able to be that starter until Brandon's ready. I'm a little nervous about his lack of experience, Brandon's lack of experience. I'm thinking that he's solely the guy. I don't feel comfortable about that.
Well, I can tell you from a fan perspective, I don't know about large Sarge's chances here, number 69. Boy's a little short, He's got the action. Bakhtiari is probably a better pick for the Commanders. You know, probably is. But don't tell him I said that. Okay, don't. All
right, we won't let that secret out. But like the other one,
I'm drinking whiskey. Don't tell him. I don't want to be upset. He might crush me. So.
So the other one that people
might be a better pick for the Commanders.
All right, man, let's move on. So the other wide receiver that people have been really talking about in the news is Brandon Ayuk from the 49ers. So Brandon Ayuk would be a phenomenal choice, and Jaden Daniels will love nothing more than that.
Oh boy!
But that means we'd have to work some kind of trade aspects with the 49ers. It looks like there's an issue there with the 49ers been doing. It's a possibility, but honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. So all of you guys are out there who's saying, Brandon Ayuk's coming to Washington, knock it off. I'm going to tell all the analysts I hear out there, this is like the Drake May drama about signing, going with Drake May instead
of All right.
Lars Sarge, I got to say this. Because all these analysts out there are like, Ayuk to the Washington Commanders. I'm going to be the one. Mark my words right here. That is not going to happen for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're not going to use next year's draft capital to go get him now because he's in the final year of his contract and he's going to want a multi-mega deal.
He's earned it. He destroyed my Lions last year in the playoffs.
And for number two, we are not going to tie up that kind of cap space, even though we have it. I think if we're going to use anything with our draft cap, it's going to go after a left tackle. And it's just not Adam Peters' style to go after a guy and then sign him to a big contract.
You mean number 69 has a chance? He has a chance? Is that your call?
No, that's not my call. I'm thinking when we signed Luke McCaffrey, when we signed him for the slot position, that kind of did it for Brandon Ayuk. You heard it here. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to say it right now. Brandon Ayuk is not coming to Washington, so stop talking about it.
Let's see how crazy Peters can get. Let's see how crazy he can get. I mean, he brought a lot of Sarge on, number 69. So
all right, so going on into this stuff, you can see where they currently have our new tight end there being listed as the starter on this particular one that's by our lads depth chart, right? But I don't believe Snot's really going to get the week one nod. I think it's going to be Zach Ertz. He's going to develop. But I wouldn't be surprised if he overtakes it at some point, but it's not going. But don't expect Ben Sinnott to be the week one starter, in my opinion. I think it's going to be Zach Ertz. Go ahead,
fans would say, "Oh hell yeah, we want Zach catching that ball." Oh yeah. Can you imagine Jaden Daniels on to Zach Ertz? Can you imagine what's going to happen?
It's going to be incredible.
What disaster there is on a slant or on a over the middle in the end zone? Can you imagine? As long as Zach is healthy.
But here's what I do like. I do like the idea in two tight end sets, both of them being on the field. Because that will be like, oh my gosh, like who are you going to cover?
We'll see what kind of offense they have and what kind of offense they develop. But yeah, I agree.
Because when you got the receivers that we have with Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, you got Zach Ertz, you got Connor out there. And then you have Austin Eckler possibly coming out the backfield. Like, there's only so many guys that you can cover.
We got weapons.
We have weapons.
We just need to protect Daniels.
All right, let's talk about the defense here real quick on this roster. All right, there's a lot of stuff going on here on the defense. The big one here is where they have Mike St. Ristel. They got him in that nickel back position, which I believe that the true backup is Emmanuel Forbes to that position, not Quan Martin. So, he's not going to start, but I believe number 13 with his failure on the outside last year and getting roasted, I don't think he's going to play outside like this depth chart has.
Yeah, that's good. That's good analysis. That's good analysis.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Davis playing the corner is the starter opposite Benjamin St. Juice, the way that it has it on here. And Emmanuel Forbes, last year's number one draft pick, is relegated to a backup role because he's got to work on his hip movement and being able to utilize his speed and his awareness in the backfield. All right.
I like me some juice. I love saying St. Juice.
Now, another one we want to pay attention to is Jeremy Chin. He might get the start nod over Derek Force at strong safety. I think that's a possibility. So I'm not in complete agreement with the defensive part of this right now.
Carolina boy taking the number one spot. You really think so?
I think so. So we see what's happening with Bobby Wagner and Frankie Lalou at the linebackers positions, along with Jamin Davis. We signed Jordan McGee. They have him on the will linebacker spot behind Jamin Davis. I don't believe that that's accurate either. I believe he's going to be playing more of a Mike linebacker position, be the backup to Bobby Wagner. Pittman's versatile. He can be anywhere. You can flop those two, and we'll see how that goes. But you see, we signed a lot of depth in defense, with the exception of Mike Sinristel. Will probably have any kind of starting impact, unlike what we have on offense, right? So that's what we're looking at for Morocco. All right, let's keep moving on. We did go to the draft, and we went to the draft party. And Large Sarge and I was there. We left Detroit after the first and second and third round, the first 2 days of the NFL draft. We were there at Detroit. We left there, and we got on an airplane, flew back to the D.C. area where we are currently right now. We went to the Commanders draft party. When was that? Yesterday? No, day before yesterday. Yeah, it was day before yesterday.
Yeah, day before.
So we went to the draft party.
Saturday.
And I will tell you, like, I wasn't overly impressed with this. I see all the news out there. They hype it up. Oh, it was a great draft party. No, it wasn't. I'm going to tell you right now, it wasn't. I was there. I know it wasn't. It was kind of flat to begin with. And I'm going to tell you, like, my overall assessment of the Commanders draft party is it needs major improvement. I put needs improvement, but I'm going to add the word major. It needs major improvement.
Wait a minute. Coach Ben Mike, I know I took a photo down there that exactly represents how dead it was.
That's how dead it was.
That was a draft party. Man's asleep in the sand. That's how much excitement there was.
Man,
it was unbelievable. And then it rained. We spent time in the bar.
You can't control the weather, but like that's not the reason why it was bad.
You know what, Coach Ben Mike? They ain't one draft pick there. It's a draft party. How do you have a draft party without draft picks in attendance?
Yeah, so that's part of my thing. Here's what needs to happen, in my opinion. All right, and make your comments. If you disagree with me, you're still watching this thing. Make your comments down below. All right, if I have a way to get this to Washington Commanders, they're going to hear it. We know a guy now. We met a couple of those guys there, and so I'm going to be emailing. I'm going to tell them what I think. All right, they're either going to block me or they're going to listen. Right.
By the way, shout out to the marketing team. They did a lot of good things like this.
That's right. We're going to get to that there in a second. But here's where I say we need. First of all, I believe the Commanders draft party needs to be post the draft. It needs to be after the draft's over. And so it's okay to call things, do it, and have a party during it. But here's why I think the draft party needs to be after it. Because I believe it needs to include the draft picks. You need to march them across the stage so everybody can cheer. Everybody can see Jaden Daniels. They can see all the other guys. They can see them for the first time. Maybe you don't put a microphone in front of their face, but you march them across the stage so we can at least take a look at them. I want to cheer. I want to be excited about something. How am I going to a draft party and not a single draft pick is there? You're bringing on former players, which I love to see. You're bringing on current players, which I love to see. But that's a Commanders gathering. That's not a
we can get that at a baseball card show when they show up to sign signatures. I don't need that.
You can get that at a card show. You can get that at any kind of autograph signing.
I want to see draft picks come across the stage.
Draft party. I want to see draft picks.
I want to get excited about what we did.
Get excited about who we just drafted. Here's the other thing: the coach wasn't there. The owner wasn't there. I want them to get on stage and say something. Tell me what your draft strategy was. Tell me why you feel good about it.
I want you to bring me in.
Give me something. Like, show up.
Bring me in and tell me how good you are and how good you feel. I want to see you.
Like at the Commanders draft party, they had Josh Harris's wife there. I don't even know what she was talking about. Like, why is she even on the stage?
Why was his wife there?
What's she know about football? So, like, I'm over there, like, for real now. Like, it was so weak. Like, I don't know. Like, you guys got to get it together. Like, we're trying to get this football team to the next level. So you got to do the small things right. This is my football team. I even had one of those marketing guys come up to me from the Washington Commanders. He goes, "Hey, thank you for showing up." I'm like, "What do you mean, thank you for showing up? This is my football team. You don't have to thank you for showing up.
We're going to show up."
And he was just like, "Yeah, well, we really appreciate your support." I'm like, "What do you mean my support? This is my team.
It's our team.
I said, thank you for, becoming a member of the team and working for them. It's
so where's the team? Where's the new boys? I want to shake their hands.
You guys walk across the stage.
Yep. Coach Mad Mike, you are 100% correct on that.
One thing they did announce, though, which I think is tremendously overdue, is Darrell Green. We got these little towels. Darrell Green, shaped like a little jersey. I'm going to call right here, and I hope Darrell Green gets a chance to hear this too. He became a Hall of Famer in 2008 after playing from 1983 to 2002. The guy played forever. I don't understand how you go from 2008 being inducted to the Hall of Fame to where we're at right now in 2024, and his number was not retired. His number has not been worn since 2002.
What are you doing?
We basically unofficially retired his number back in 2002 because nobody's worn it since. We just never made it official.
22 years. 22 years.
You have to explain to me how nobody's worn this number for 22 years because you didn't want to give it out because it was unofficially retired. Why did it take you 22 years to retire this man's number?
Because there's been so daggum many coaches, they don't know what they're doing.
It's ridiculous.
Dan Snyder, thanks for nothing.
They just get mad over this stuff.
Thanks for nothing, Dan Snyder. We're glad you're gone.
Yeah, Dan Snyder's gone. I'm glad Josh Harris is making it right because this is a travesty that has taken this long, 22 years, to retire this man's number. It should have been done 22 years ago.
Josh Harris, A+.
Daniel Snyder, F-. All right, last little bit, and I know this video is going a little bit long, but hey, I want to let y'all know something, and we're going to talk more about it later. But the Commanders are already working to try to land a deal, 2 states and a city, the nation's capital, that are in the bid for a new stadium with the Washington Commanders. Now, I think Virginia's out of the race already. I don't have a confirmation on that.
Virginia's
but I
out.
think it's going to be between
Virginia.
the district.
It's out. It's gone.
I think it's going to be between the district and it's going to be between Maryland.
Yeah.
And if I was venturing to guess today, I would say the district's going to win.
You think so,
right?
Coach Man Mike?
I do.
I think
because right here it says district officials are making plans to create a stadium authority that would be used as a funding mechanism for a new football stadium for the Commanders on the RFK site. They have already demolished the RFK stadium. They are already, in my opinion, making plans for this to happen. The Washington Commanders have actually hired a guru to help start the planning process for the new stadium.
Bowser's an idiot.
So
she's going to be late to the punch. Maryland's going to step in there and get it.
So DC Bowser.
That's another beer bet, by the way, Coach Mad Mike. It's going to be Maryland.
I think it's going to be DC. But okay, we'll have that one. But this has been something that I think a majority of fans would like to see it back into the nation's capital. It hasn't been there since 1996 when we moved to Landover. And our current lease expires. I finally was able to find it. The current lease at FedEx Field expires in 2027. So we got
2 years, 3 years,
2 to 3 years to figure out what the flip we're going to do. And the estimated cost for a new stadium is going to be $1.5 to $2 billion. And here's the problem. The problem only gets worse.
How much?
$1.5 to $2 billion.
Oh, boy. Will you understand what that would do to the town here? $2 billion?
Yeah, because somebody's got to pay for it. And here's what I know about Josh Harris. He had to bring in about 15 minority owners because he had a hard time coming up with the $6 billion to buy this team. So he doesn't have $2 billion to build a stadium.
And I paid $32 for a beer, a hot dog, and fries at the last game last year. If he gets a $2 billion stadium, how the hell much is it going to cost to get a hot dog and a beer?
I think he might use part of this team as collateral to get himself a loan, and he's looking for the district or somebody else to come in and help pay for it. So there's going to be some hog swaggling going on.
There's hog swaggling, and the prices are too high. Too high.
They want
to pay $30 for a hot dog and a beer and fries.
You're gonna have to keep charging. It might go up because they got to pay for a stadium.
I hope that don't happen.
He's gonna want his return for on investment.
It means I'm going to go out and tailgate, and I'm not going to pay any money for the stuff in the stadium.
All right, Sarge, we got to wrap this thing up, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. We had a whole lot of stuff going on, and we are out of here. Peace.